Today we're going to go over product research. Now, most people, when they think of the word product research, they tend to think of just finding a spy tool, finding some bullshit gimmick, and just testing it and scaling it, and then completely burning their processing, getting chargebacks, and just flexing the revenue on Twitter and launching a course. That's not a winning product. A winning product is so much more. And when you kind of do what I just described, which is what most dropshippers tend to do, you actually end up making less money overall because the goal of running e-commerce or any business is to exit the company. And I have a good story about this. I had a friend, and he's a great friend of mine. And basically, long story short, he built up a company over, I think it was like 2 years, and it made a few $1 million in revenue. So obviously, it was dropship, some inventory. You guys get the idea. And he had an offer on it for about $500,000. And this is pure profit. This is with taxes, 20% capital gains. You guys get the idea. So it's pretty fat payout, and he kind of got a little bit greedy. Now I'm not hating on anyone for doing this. Everyone makes this mistake. There's been times in my life I've been greedy, and greed tends to be like black fog on a mountain, and when you overstep, you fall on the other side of the mountain. So he made the mistake of not selling the company. He got emotionally attached. He believed that, okay, well, I can scale the company, I can fix it up, I could probably get a bigger payout for it. He got greedy, right? Instead of analyzing the offer in front of him, he ended up not selling it. And guess what happened to the company? Today, right now, it's worth $0. So, he obviously fucked up pretty much there. And that's just part of the learning curve. But the end goal of e-commerce in general is to exit your company, is to make yourself in the business. So I guess I don't know what the term is, but make yourself so negligible where you can be removed and a new CEO or founder can instantly come in and take things over. The goal is not to sit there and run a company you're so emotionally attached to. And you guys have seen this shit on Shark Tank too. You guys have seen all these founders come on and they're like, they're so attached to the company. Mark Cuban will be like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy your company," and they're like, "No, no, no, I can't do that." And it's like, bad decision. You should have sold the company, built a similar one, or they probably would have signed an NCA, but you could have built a similar one with a partner. You could have done many other things. You could have utilized that funding you got to do something bigger, but you got greedy, and now you've lost out on firstly the cash amount you would have gotten. On top of that, your company went under in bankruptcy, and it's like, well, what was the point, right? And with that said too, people don't understand to reach the higher echelons of wealth. What did Elon Musk do? And he sold Zip2 to Compaq. Okay, people don't know the story. He sold this company to Compaq, and I think he got $16 million from it. He invested, I think, 12 million into making X.com, which today we know is PayPal. There's a reason why Twitter's called X.com. And at the time, this is 1999, or it was like 2000, somewhere between there. Basically, before most of you watching, because most of you are in my age group in our 20s, before most of us were born or when we were children. And what happened was the internet at the time, it was running on modems. So banking was very heterogeneous. It was just very slow, right? Because, and again, Bitcoin kind of filled this gap, crypto, DeFi, things like that. But it was very slow. The internet was slow at the time. We didn't have social media at the time, and it was unsecure. It was running primarily on batch processing, I believe it was. So long story short, his vision for X.com was to be a one-stop shop for kind of banking, lending, investing, insurance, just anything financial related, right? So it would have been one of the biggest companies in the world if PayPal had stuck to his original game plan, but PayPal kind of didn't. They just kind of butchered it. And Stripe kind of came in, kind of half started doing what X.com was intended to do. But Elon Musk was always quick at pivoting. He's always quick to sell his companies. There's a reason why. But anyways, looping it back to now product research with the whiteboard now, let's go over what makes a winning product. Okay, this is going to be a very advanced video. It's not going to be some fucking, I don't know, download Mania and go look for sex dolls. Like, I don't know. It's not gonna be some bullshit video. It's gonna be like what actually makes up a multi-billion-dollar winning product, because then you can extrapolate that and apply it to your day-to-day drop shipping, and voila, you're gonna be more profitable than the guy who's studying, I don't know, some YouTuber. You can go Google them and they're learning all this bullshit. But let's get straight into it. So, okay, first things first, I guess I can like, holy shit, I forgot to even select the marker. And let me do this real quick. Okay, cool. Okay, we'll start off over here. So first things first, you're gonna have this massive top because it's a funnel. Okay, this is what a market model needs to look like. Okay, and I'm gonna really try my best to like. We're gonna have to redraw the bottom portion of this. It's really laggy on here. Okay, so first things first, at the very top, you're gonna have your market need. Okay. That's the very first thing. You're going to have a market need. If you want to find a winning product, you first need to find the market that wants to buy it. The problem is if you're selling fire extinguishers, I heard this really great quote from, it was a long time ago, but if you're selling fire extinguishers and going door to door, no one's going to want to buy one, even if it's like $10 or $20. But if you start selling it to people who live in, let's say, Alaska or somewhere where there's a ton of forest fires and their house could burn down, okay, well, now a fire extinguishing system can make sense where you can sell them for 1 grand because it's an actual problem that they have, right? So the first thing is a market need, and I'm going to get more into depth into this. So like I was saying, the second thing is going to be your product hook, okay? Now, this is going to be the actual unique factor of your product, okay? This isn't what makes it uncopyable, which is your moat, which I'll get into at the very end. But this is just more or less what actually convinces your audience that has a problem to buy your product over your competitors. So product hook this, and the third thing is going to be a scalable distribution model, okay? If you have a product, whether it's digital, physical, whatever, and you can't scale it in terms of distribution, in terms of your logistics, in terms of your value delivery, you're not going to get anywhere. And last but not least, you're going to have your actual mode. Okay. Now, throwing this fucking iPad over here, fixing this. Let's get into what this actually all is. So, the first things first, right? You're gonna have your market need, okay? Now, I have a couple of these things lined out here. You could have sleeping, you could have your digestive issues, you could have fitness, you could have dogs, you could have, I don't know, what's another thing? You could have fires, right? Fire extinguishers would be a product for that. So if we divulge more into the products that could be sold here, right? With sleeping, okay, you could sell an insomnia product, right? You start delving more into the problem of insomnia, and then you start reverse engineering. So we'll put INS for insomnia. You could put maybe snoring, right? The snoring nose things, those are a pretty big winning product, where they were. Digestive problems, you could put pills, you could put whatever. Fitness, you could put like yoga mats. For dogs, you could put like a harness that like a harness with their name on it. Now you can get to gimmicks. So like maybe you want to sell something that doesn't necessarily solve a problem, but solves a psychological need. So that's a psychological need for psychological need. Maybe with fires, you could sell an extinguisher or blanket, like the fire blanket. So already we went into a market need, and we can produce multiple products. Not all these are gonna be winning, but we can produce multiple products by doing this. And you extrapolate this entire concept into different niches. And then what you can do, start producing angles. You can start testing different things. So my infamous example that I like to use would be a dress, right? So let's take a dress, okay? And instead of just selling a dress to women, and I guess you start off with women, right, who want to look good, and then you'd have dresses, you could have shirts, whatever the hell, right? But then you go into angles, okay? And this would be kind of your product hook. So the next thing, product hook, you go into dresses, and maybe you could do compliment, right? Maybe the woman wants to be complimented. Okay, maybe you go into sexual companionship. Okay, you go into sexual companionship. You can go into so many different routes. Maybe you can make a pheromone dress. Watch this become a big thing. I don't really know, but you guys get the idea. You can go into different angles. Okay, and next you're gonna have your scalable distribution model. So this is kind of your logistics. And with e-commerce, what you need to understand is this just comes down to product quality. Okay, this is not necessarily, I guess, like whenever you're coming up with a SaaS, you're coming up with an actual model like PayPal, right? And like I explained how PayPal was running, had the whole concept of basically taking out the banking sector because they were really slow, unsecured things like that, which cough cough Bitcoin basically did, or will do in the near future. I firmly believe that. I believe in the model of Bitcoin. But anyways, um, long story short, this scalable distribution model becomes more of a challenge to cross there. But for us, when we're doing e-commerce, it's pretty fucking easy. You just got to make sure you have good product quality, you have good customer support, things like that. Make sure your value delivery side of things, people are not banging at your front door upset at you, right? And last but not least, you're gonna have your moat. So this is your non-copyability. This is just kind of what prevents people from copying you as an individual. So I've said this example since 2019. Okay, I've said this for a long, long time. You guys can go look at my stories on Instagram and see how religiously I believed in this. And it's people think that, at least in the drop shipping space, they think that if they get a fidget spinner, a few thousand of them, throw their logo on it, ship it to a U.S. warehouse, and I guess like I don't even know, get some staff there. They think they have a real brand. It's like, no, your brand isn't an indicator of ordering inventory with a logo on it and private labeling it. That's just a glorified drop shipping store. Your brand, it has to come from a VC firm perspective, right? And what that means is it needs to be something like makeup, a supplement, things like that. It needs to be something that no one can just come in and copy. The barrier of entry has to be actually low on your brand, right? And if you combine all of these factors, that's how you create a multi-billion dollar company, or at least a multi-$100 million company. And the best example I have of this is a company called Native. Okay. If we diagnose what they did, Moise Ali is running it, fantastic interviews he has on the internet. If you diagnose what Native did, they've met every single one of these. There was a market need. Okay. There was a product hook, what made them special. There was a scalable distribution model because, dude, this guy was in the factories like making canisters of deodorant. And last but not least, there's copyability because, again, he's in the factory making fucking cans of deodorant. Who's gonna go and do that, right? No drop shipper. So that's how you conduct product research. This isn't supposed to be a tactical video where I go and go through Minia and find some fucking product. No, this is supposed to be how you're supposed to think. Like we can get into the advanced strategies later, but yeah, I'm not gonna be teaching you guys $10 ad sets and um, I don't even know what they're teaching nowadays, but I'm not going to be teaching that shit. What I'm going to teach is actual fundamental principles. So even though I've only made $10 million, right, which in the world of ecom isn't that much, I can even recognize that. Even though I've only made $10 million, the principles and things I'm teaching are from multi-billionaires and are from people who have done way more than me that I've utilized to make my 10 million plus dollars at a very young age, obviously. So that's the kind of concepts I wanted to get across to you guys. With that said, I'm gonna head off for the night. Just quick video. I want to come on here and explain this founder model, this product market fit model, right? It's more than just the product. It's about the market needs of the hooks. It's about your scalability with the product itself. It's about how big your audience size is. It's about all these different factors that you need to write down and go through when you're testing. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna head off for the night. Peace.